Hey there, sophomores. Welcome to English. It is Thursday. Head over to your classwork tab and check out today's quick write. Remember 5 complete and quality sentences. Your quick writes from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today are all due tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. And tomorrow's quick write is due Monday at 3:30 p.m. So make sure you're getting those done and turned in on time, all right? So, in our theme of heroes, yesterday we read the tale of Sir Lancelot de Lake. And I asked you who you thought was the hinky character. And I've seen several comments about who their hinky character was. And so I wanted to share who I was thinking of when I asked you that question, okay? So in the beginning, Lancelot sets out on this adventure, right? But he didn't set out alone. He set out with his nephew, Sir Lionel. And when he comes to this tree, this apple tree, and decides to take a rest, Sir Lionel is there watching over him while he sleeps. But then the next thing we know, the 4 queens and their knights show up, and Sir Lionel is nowhere. To me, that was kind of hinky, because you would think that Sir Lionel would be like, don't touch my uncle. What do you want? And at least like say something. But he just completely disappears from the story. And so it begs the question, was he captured too and Lancelot didn't know and escapes without him? Did he go off and leave Sir Lancelot because he thought he could be a better knight? Or was he put to sleep and spelled as well while they took Sir Lancelot? We don't know because it doesn't actually say, because he just disappears. So that was the hinky character I was talking about when I asked you that question yesterday. But I got several different ideas for that a couple of which I want to talk about. Someone said they thought the knight at the in the pavilion was the hinky character, because he comes in to his pavilion after Sir Lancelot's like, I'm asleep over there in that pavilion in the bed for some reason, knowing it's not his. And the knight gets there and crawls into bed and thinks it's his paramour. It's the lady he's gonna have this romantic tryst with, and starts kissing Sir Lancelot. So some of you said he was the kinky character, and I can totally see that. I mean, wouldn't you want to make sure it's actually the right person before you just start kissing them? You'd think. Another one that I saw was King Bagdemagus was hinky, because he totally just like caught Lancelot and threw him into the fray. Like, King Bagdemagus had so many more, fewer soldiers than the other guy. And here he gets Sir Lancelot to fight them. And not only is he fighting this other essential army, he's also fighting his friends from the Round Table. And so he's totally just boom, boom, pow, done. Destroys pretty much everyone before the other king is like, you win, I'm leaving. And so some of you said he was hinky, and I can totally see that too. So those were just a couple things I wanted to talk about. The story was pretty straightforward and a little off the wall in parts. And I think that's pretty typical of stories written about King Arthur. They don't necessarily take the same turn we would think they would. And a lot of times these knights are doing feats that you don't necessarily think are real or plausible. That was something that happened a lot in the King Arthur stories, no matter who was writing them. What did you guys think about the love triangle between Arthur, Guinevere, and Lancelot? Like I said yesterday, that's what destroyed Camelot, essentially. Everything fell apart once it was known that Guinevere was having a tryst with Sir Lancelot. So as kind of an interesting piece, we didn't get a lot about that, but just a little blurb. So today, after this video, head over and do your quick write, but I'm going to read you a connection essay. It's by Oliver Stone. It's called Where I Find My Heroes. So I'd like you to listen while I read this, okay? Oliver Stone became a movie director after serving in the Vietnam War. His films include Born on the 4th of July from 1989, JFK from 1991, and Nixon from 1995. It's not true that there are no heroes anymore, but it is true that my own concept of heroism has changed radically over time. When I was young and I read the Random House biographies, my heroes were always people like George Washington and General Custer and Abraham Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt. Men generally and doers. Women, with the exception of Clara Barton, Florence Nightingale, and Joan of Arc, got short shift. Most history was oriented toward male heroes. But as I've gotten older and since I've been to war, I've been forced to re-examine the nature of life and of heroism. What is true? What are the myths? The simple acts of heroism are often overlooked. That's very clear to me, not only in war, but in peace. I'm not debunking all of history. Crossing the Delaware was a magnificent action. But I am saying that I think the meaning of heroism has a lot to do with evolving into a higher human being. I came into contact with it when I worked with Ron Kovic, the paraplegic Vietnam vet, on Born on the 4th of July. I was impressed by his life change from a patriotic and strong-willed athlete to someone who had to deal with the total surrender of his body, who grew into a nonviolent and peaceful advocate of change in the Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi tradition. So heroism is tied to an evolution of consciousness. Since the war, I've had children, and I'm wrestling now with the everyday problems of trying to share my knowledge with them without overwhelming them. It's difficult to be a father, to be a mother, and I think that to be a kind and loving parent is an act of heroism. So there you go. Heroes are everyday common people. Most of what they do goes unheralded, unappreciated, and that, ironically, is heroism, not to be recognized. Who is heroic? Scientists who spend years of their lives trying to find cures for diseases. The teenager who says no to crack. The inner city kid who works at McDonald's instead of selling drugs. The kid who stands alone instead of joining a gang, which would give him an instant identity. The celebrity who remains modest and treats others with respect, or who uses his position to help society. The student who defers the immediate pleasure of making money and finishes college or high school. People who take risks despite fears. People in wheelchairs who don't give up. We have a lot of corruption in our society, but we mustn't assume that everything is always basely motivated. We should allow for the heroic impulse, which is to be greater than oneself, to try to find another version of oneself, to grow. That's where virtue comes from, and we must allow our young generation to strive for virtue instead of ridiculing it. So I just want you to ponder that for a minute. I definitely agree with him. Heroes today are everyday people. You can have heroes that are famous people, and you can have heroes that aren't famous. But this has developed over time and hasn't always been that way. King Arthur would have been a hero to people way back when. So I just want you to think about that today and then do your quick write. And tomorrow I will have an assignment for you, okay? So if you have any questions, as always, please let me know. I do have my office hours today from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Google Meet. Hopefully my internet holds out better than it did today and I don't have to send a new link. I think I got it fixed. Fingers crossed. You can use that for questions if you're having trouble with any assignments or anything like that. or you can do your weekly check-in there. Make sure you're getting your weekly check-ins done, okay? All right, good luck and have a good day.